After these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
Concludes the test. Propulsion system safety completed nominally.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
And then SpaceX is about helping make life multiplanetary and doing what we can to continue the dream of Apollo.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, and times, and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
All right, that's all a lot easier in zero-G, by the way. So there you have it. Dragon version 2, capable of carrying up to 7 astronauts, propulsively landing almost anywhere in the world, and something that's designed, as I said, to be fully reusable, so you can fly this multiple times, allowing for potential dramatic reduction in the cost of access to space. Thank you.
You can ignore this dragon if you want. Most Christians do. They sleep right through the scriptures and the visions given to the prophets of the time that we live in. So if I were you, I would pay attention and take heed.
We also spoke about the new BFR, short for Big Effing Rocket, that is under development by SpaceX, and which will be the rocket that is expected to start carrying humans to Mars, as it has made space once again very exciting to the world.
SpaceX has upended the rocket industry, as you know, and managed to become one of the most valuable private companies in the process. It tops CNBC's just-released Disruptor 50 list. Morgan Brennan got a rare and exclusive look inside the company, sat down with a woman who's helping to carry out Elon Musk's vision, and joins us this morning from SpaceX headquarters in California. Hi again, Morgan.
Hi, Carl. Good to see you. So this is a company that Gwen Shotwell, COO and president of SpaceX, says is now valued at about $28 billion. Now, I sat down with her for an exclusive interview inside this building behind me. This is SpaceX's rocket factory. It was a rare interview. It covered everything from SpaceX's ambitious plans for human space travel to the business model that is enabling this company to carry out the vision. The satellites. You recently won FCC approval for a constellation of thousands of broadband satellites.
Dragon is a very sophisticated satellite, and we have our own launch capabilities. I think we'll be able to emplace a constellation that could be quite successful.
This vision to see rocket launches that are as regular as airliner flights.
You're a neuroscience company, and you're working to build basically an interface to the brain.
Thousands of broadband satellites.
Interface to the brain.
Yeah. Electrode to neuron interface at a micro level.
And we have our own launch capabilities.
Okay, what is it? Like, I'm gonna have like a plug in my head that's gonna fit into a hard drive? Like, okay, what is it? Like, I'm gonna have like a plug in my head that's gonna fit into a hard drive? Like, or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
I think we'll be able to emplace a constellation that could be quite successful.
Or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
The vision.
Or how does that work?
Yeah. A chip and a bunch of tiny wires.
Vision to see rocket launches that are as regular as airliner flights.
And so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves.
Thousands of broadband satellites.
And so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves.
I think we'll be able to emplace a constellation that could be quite successful.
And so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, it would actually make everyone hyper smart.
Dragon is a very sophisticated satellite.
Do you believe in God?
I believe there's some explanation for this universe, which you might call God.
When will I be able to get the interface implant?
Elon Musk, pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
So this is the Dragon that goes up into space and is going to go up on Monday, correct?
Yeah, that's our Dragon spacecraft, or version 1, which is capable of taking cargo to and from the space station, including biological cargo like fish and mice and that kind of thing.
So when do human beings start going up in it, you think?
So we expect to complete version 2 of Dragon, which will have astronaut transport capability in about 2 years.
And most of what you do now is send satellites up into space, right? That's how you pay the bills.
Exactly.
But you want to do something much more ambitious with SpaceX.
Yeah, I mean, the long-term aspiration is to develop the technologies necessary to transport a large number of people and cargo to Mars in order to create a self-sustaining civilization there. In order to create a self-sustaining civilization there. And that's really why I started the company, was because it seemed as though...
To create the possibility for life on other planets. To create the possibility for life on other planets. To create the possibility for life on other planets.
Yeah, exactly.
What I really want to try to achieve here is to make Mars seem possible. There are really two fundamental paths. One path is we stay on Earth forever, and then there will be some eventual extinction event. The alternative is to become a spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species. Why Mars?
Let's start talking about space and what you've been doing there. Obviously, you've had some success landing the rocket.
Probably, and the most significant thing is being able to land an orbit-class rocket. If you spin a marble or a coin on a coin funnel, when it's far out, it sort of spins slowly, and then as it gets closer, it spins faster and faster. And if you were to start at the bottom of the coin funnel and you wanted to exit, you'd spin it horizontally, and it would spin out, and that's really how you get to orbit. Yeah, so the gravity well is like a funnel.
Why you want to land on a ship in the ocean?
Because in order to get to orbit, all that matters is your horizontal velocity. Your altitude doesn't really matter. In fact, the force of gravity at say the sort of nominal boundary of space, 100 kilometers, is almost exactly the same as it is on the surface of the Earth. So like if it's a few percent lower than the surface of the Earth. So in order to go up and stay up, the only thing that matters is how fast are you going horizontal to the Earth's surface. So you have that outward radial acceleration, or think of it like maybe like tetherball or something like that. It's really that outward acceleration is the thing that matters. And so when the rocket is going to orbit, the only reason it's going up is to get out of the thick part of the atmosphere. Because at high velocity, the atmosphere is thick as molasses. And so it goes up very briefly, but if you look at a long exposure of the rocket's trajectory, you'll see it goes up, but immediately curves over and starts going horizontal. And so at the point at which the point at which the stages separate, there's two stages. The primary boost stage, which is the most expensive part of the rocket, the point at which that staging occurs can be as high as Mach 10. But it's going away from the launch site at 10 times the speed of sound. So in order to get back to the launch site, you would have to have enough fuel and oxygen to reverse out that velocity and boost back all the way to the launch site. And you just don't have, the physics of it don't really allow you to have that much. It's not about saving money on fuel or anything, it's just physically impossible. Because another sort of thing about if you're in space is that there's nothing to react against. So like whereas an aircraft can circle very easily because it's reacting against air, in vacuum there's nothing to react against. So the only way to go back the other direction is to apply just as much energy as it took you to go. If you want to go backwards, you have to apply just as much energy as it took you to go forwards. In fact, well, twice as much, really, because you've got to zero it out, and then you've got to...
So you've got to land elsewhere.
Yeah, so bottom line is this thing is zinging out to sea at 10 times faster than a bullet.
At that point, it may well be over the ocean, because the ocean covers most of the...
Oh, it's actually, at the point of separation, it's not that far away. It's maybe 100 kilometers away from the launch site, but it is going like hell in the opposite, away from the launch site. So the only way to really land it is to have it continue on that arc, that ballistic arc, and then land far out to sea on a ship that's pre-positioned to a particular latitude and longitude, very, very precise, to within about a meter. And then the rocket will then go from vacuum through rarefied air at hypersonic velocity. So when it's in vacuum, it has to, obviously you can't use aero surfaces, you have to use nitrogen jets to control the attitude and position.
And then as it starts to encounter the air, we use grid fins, because grid fins look like sort of like a waffle. They work quite well across a wide regime, from both very high velocity hypersonics through supersonic, transonic, and subsonic. So it's hard to have aero surfaces that work well across that entire regime. And then, so once the aero forces become high, it uses the four grid fins to sort of control its attitude.
To land itself.
Yeah, it's controlling it's controlling pitch, yaw, and roll with the grid fins. And then those grid fins will then position it to where it's fairly close to the ship, and then it will light, in this case, 3 of the 9 engines to arrest the velocity, and then drop to 1 engine for precision right before landing.
Right. Why is that important? Why has this moment been important for you?
Well, so in order to reuse the boost stage, which is about 70% of the cost of the rocket. So
which cost is that? How much is that?
Well, I mean, it's sort of on the order of $30 to $35 million.
We've been going to space for what, 50 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Nobody, until you started doing this, and Jeff Bezos' company has done it, the government never sort of saved the rockets.
Yeah.
They never saved the pallet of cash. Why not? And the Russians didn't either. I mean, what was the deal there?
Yeah, I mean, there was some attempt made to do that with the space shuttle, but there was no return. It's the first time that a rocket boost has returned to launch site from an orbital mission, and certainly the first time that there's been a landing on a ship out
But
to
the
sea.
regular rockets that went up that weren't designed like planes never tried to do this.
Right. The plane thing is not a good idea in my view. The plane, and the reason I think is, like, intuitively it seems like a plane should work, but actually if you consider that really every mode of transport has a design that is appropriate to its medium. And if you're in space, wings are not very useful because there's no air. And then if you want to go somewhere other than Earth, there's also no runways. So these are important considerations. So that's why when they went to the moon, they used propulsive landing.
Right. But what I'm saying was, when they built the space shuttle, it sort of was looked like a kind of bulbous
I think that appealed to Congress. Yeah. Yeah.
They went, cool, cool.
Yeah, it looked like an airplane.
Can you explain the Jeff Bezos?
Good one.
Jeff Bezos was here last night, and I asked him, what's the difference between what you're doing and what Elon Musk is doing? And he said, well, I think we have, I think he used the word like-minded in the general sense of it, and then he went on to explain some differences. And then he talked about, and correct me if I'm misquoting him, but I think he was saying, this is all about laying the foundations of being able to do greater things by getting the basic infrastructure of being able to reuse these rockets down right. Is that correct? Do you have a similar starting point from him and your thinking process?
I think there's certainly some similarities of opinion. I think both Jeff and I believe that it's important for the future to be a spacefaring civilization and out there, ultimately be out there among the stars. And I think
Why do you seem so scared? I know things no one knows. We're going to die.
I think that's the exciting, inspiring future that I think certainly people in this room want. I mean, I think when I say, multi-planet species, like, that's really what we want to be. It's not like, still being a single planet species, but moving planets. It's it's really being a multi-planet species and having civilization and life as we know it extend beyond Earth to the rest of the solar system and ultimately to other star systems. I think that's the thing. That's the future that's exciting and inspiring. And I think that's what, I think, you need things like that to make to be glad to wake up in the morning. Like life can't be just about solving problems. Like there have to be things that are inspiring and exciting that make you glad to be alive.
So what, in the immediate time frame, what is your goal for SpaceX now that you've done this, which is a huge accomplishment? What is the plan for you in the immediate time and then the longer range?
Sure. So so we plan to refly one of the landed rocket boosters, hopefully in about 2 or 3 months, something like that. And then so that'll be an important milestone. So far, the stages are looking like quite good, even though they come through quite. It's a really difficult re-entry situation, but they're looking like they're in good shape. And we now have 4 of them. So we want to start reflying them, towards the end of summer, and then hopefully. By the end of this year, we'll be launching Falcon Heavy, which will be the most powerful rocket in the world by more than a factor of 2. Mm-hmm. So Falcon Heavy will be on the order of 5 million pounds of thrust on liftoff, which is about 2/3 the size of a Saturn V.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that's the rocket that took the astronauts to the moon.
Right. Exactly.
So,
in fact, we're launching from the same pad, from the Apollo 11 pad.
Wow.
The launches will take place, every 2 to 4 weeks. There's quite a high launch cadence.
That's a much faster cadence than NASA had, right?
Yeah, it'll be more launches than anything else in the world. So more than Russia, more than Europe, more than China by next year, certainly.
And largely to deliver customers' satellites.
Yeah, there's a lot of broadcast and communication satellites that are going to geosynchronous orbit, mm-hmm. And then we'll also be launching the new Iridium constellation. Mm-hmm. So the Iridium's got a next generation mm-hmm. Constellation of satellites. I think 60 or 70 satellites, quite decent sized satellites. That'll be like many orders of magnitude improvement over the current Iridium system. So you'll be able to have global broadband. So that'll be a whole bunch of launches. And and then next year we'll be flying Dragon version 2, which is the one that's capable of taking up to 7 astronauts to the space station. Mm-hmm. In fact, Dragon 2 really it's a propulsive lander as well, and it'll be it's intended to carry astronauts to the space station, but it's also capable of being a general science delivery platform to anywhere in the solar system. So
where are you going with it?
We're going to send one to Mars in 2018.
Now, let's talk about
wait. 2018, that's for sure.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Okay. Now, will you be on that flight?
No.
You have talked about this. You said you want to die on Mars, just not on landing, right? Is that correct?
Well, I mean, I think if you're going to choose a place to die,
then Mars is probably, not a bad choice.
All right.
But you're not ready.
It's not some sort of Martian death wish or something. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to be born on Earth, die on Mars.
So sending this up to Mars 2018, right? Sending this up to Mars 2018, when will someone like you get there from your plans?
Sure. So the 2018 mission would be our Dragon version 2.
Right.
And I think if things go according to plan, we should be able to launch people probably in 2024 with arrival in 2025.
Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side according to it. And every one that sweareth shall be cut off, as on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name.
This is the only place that humans have outside of planet Earth where humans can live. And if you like, down there on Earth, you can actually see it with your naked eye. You just go to the ISS website and it tells you when to see us. You can look up in the sky and you will see this bright little star moving over the sky.
Enoch chapter 18 verses 13 through 15. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years.
And here we are, 6 humans on the International Space Station, the embassy of humankind out in space, continuing an 18-year uninterrupted human presence on this fantastic laboratory. And you can look up in this.
that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. When they behold the beast,
you can look up in the sky and
they behold the beast.
You will see this bright little star.
They behold the beast
moving over the sky.
They behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
You can see that on many, many nights, and if you see it, think about that humans actually built this. That
and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder.
There are right now 6 humans, soon only 3 humans up here, out of the 7 billion humans that live down on Earth. So
when they behold the beast,
give these guys a wave when you see them.
When they behold the beast, 5 are fallen, and 1 is.
I saw in my vision by night, and behold another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. To this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
Is necessary to transport a large number of people and cargo to Mars in order to create a self-sustaining civilization there. Thanks for having me.
So this is the Dragon that goes up into space, right?
Yeah, that's our Dragon spacecraft, or version 1, which is capable of taking cargo to and from the space station.
So when do human beings start going up in it, you think?
So we expect to complete version 2 of Dragon, which will have astronaut transport capability.
And most of what you do now is send satellites up into space, right? That's how you pay the bills.
Exactly.
But you want to do something much more ambitious with SpaceX.
Yeah, I mean, the long-term aspiration is to develop the technologies necessary to transport a large number of people and cargo to Mars in order to create a self-sustaining civilization there. In order to create a self-sustaining civilization there. And that's really why I started the company, was because it seemed as though...
To create the possibility for life on other planets. To create the possibility for life on other planets. To create the possibility for life on other planets.
Yeah, exactly.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet, and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet, and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head.
And it came to pass after this, that I saw another host of chariots with men riding on them. And they came upon the wind from the east and from the west to the south. And the sound of the noise of their chariots was heard. And when this occurred, the holy ones observed it from heaven, and the pillars of the earth were shaken from their foundations, and the sound was heard from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven throughout the day.
As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty, but they made the images of their abominations and of their detestable things therein. Therefore have I set it far from them, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it, and they shall pollute it. My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. Wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none.
He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion, round about him were dark waters, and thick clouds of the skies.
My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber.
And they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it.
But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
This parable spake Jesus unto them. But they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Jesus unto them again,
Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.